I knew the quarter was going to be brutal when our VP of sales started using the word synergy like it was holy scripture. That, and when they stopped making eye contact during Friday meetings, just smiled at their phones like hyenas in Armani. But I still showed up, every morning. Red lipstick, black blazer, and a smile you could bounce a check off. After 20 damn years of climbing the ladder in heels, I had finally landed the whale. $2.4 million tech installation deal with a national healthcare chain. My biggest close, my Everest. The kind of deal that gets your face framed in the lobby, or at least used to. But things had been off. No congratulations when I floated the pending deal in the Monday pipeline call. Just a curt good job from Chad, our caffeinated sales director who spent more time styling his beard than managing people. HR stopped chit-chatting, and the CFO, Marissa, queen of dry PowerPoints and colder hugs, accidentally replied all to one of my emails with just the word, soon. I brushed it off. Maybe they were restructuring, maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I'd just worked too many weekends and my brain was pickled in coffee and passive aggression. You give your soul to a company, birthdays missed, holidays worked, marriage barely holding by thread, and you start to believe they owe you something. Not money, not even loyalty, just basic damn human decency. But corporate decency is like low-fat ranch dressing, promised, rarely delivered. Still, I didn't let the weird vibes get to me. I focused on the close. The paperwork came in on a Thursday, deal finalized Friday, 5:46 p.m. I remember the time because I fist-pumped so hard I knocked over my Yeti tumbler. I forwarded the signed doc to accounting, CC'd the usual suspects, and sat back, expecting at least a damn thumbs-up emoji. Instead, I got a calendar invite, conference room 4B urgent HR sync. Let me tell you, nothing good has ever happened in a room labeled 4B. You're either getting laid off, accused of misconduct, or about to sit through a surprise diversity training led by someone who says y'all unironically. I clicked accept and walked in like a lamb to slaughter. You want to know what betrayal smells like? It's a mix of fresh carpet glue, budget hand sanitizer, and the smug cologne of a man who's already spent your commission on golf clubs. They didn't even sit me down. Just stood there, HR lady and Chad, looking like two mannequins that forgot how to pretend. Due to departmental restructuring, they said, your position has been deemed redundant. No mention of the deal. No mention of the 20 years I'd bled for that company like a paper cut with a 401k. Just a printed letter and a weak offer to help transition. Let that word sink in. Transition, like I'm a damn app that needs uninstalling. Now listen, I'll keep going. Because this story, it's just heating up. But hey, before I tell you how I turned the tables and watched them burn their own house down, do me one favor, smash that subscribe button and toss a like if this has you hooked. 97% of folks listening never do, and honestly, it means more than a commission check. Keeps this little revenge train chugging. Anyway, I didn't cry, not there. I clenched my jaw so tight my molars hummed, took the envelope, nodded like I was accepting a damn Oscar, and walked out. But they forgot one thing. I built their damn building access system, not managed it. Built it, every keycard, every user group, every security override. And right then, between the elevator and my Camry, I remembered something beautiful. They never changed the master admin login. Turns out, redundancy's a funny word when you're the only one holding the keys to the kingdom. It was supposed to be a victory lap. I double-checked every goddamn line in that contract. Reviewed the install schedules, scanned the license bundles, even chased down Janet from legal who disappears every Friday after lunch like a feral raccoon with a gym membership. By 5:46 p.m., I'd hit send on the final confirmation to the client and CC'd the exec team. The deal was in. Signed, sealed, 6 figures in commission practically screaming from the spreadsheet. I leaned back in my chair, exhaled, and texted my husband, dinner's on me tonight. We did it. That's when my screen blinked with the invite. Glassroom immediate HR meeting. Now, I've seen enough episodes of Succession to know that immediate HR is code for we're about to skull-fuck your career and ask if you brought a box for your desk. I walked down the hallway, past the copy machine I once fixed with a butter knife, past the intern whose name I always remembered, past 2 managers pretending they weren't whispering when I passed. They all knew. You could smell it in the air. Metallic hum of a coming betrayal, like ozone before a tornado. I stepped into that glass conference room, the one they used to transparently ruin lives, and there they were, Chad from sales, grinning like he just farted in an Uber, and Trina from HR with her funeral face on. Hey Maggie, thanks for joining, Chad said, like I was there for cake. Neither of them made eye contact. Trina shuffled papers like a blackjack dealer having an existential crisis. Chad cleared his throat and started with, listen, first off, we just want to say we really appreciate everything you've done. That's when my gut dropped. It wasn't a talk, it was the talk. We've been evaluating departmental efficiencies, Trina chimed in like reading off a cue card, and after much consideration and recent restructuring, your position is being phased out, effective immediately. I blinked. Thought maybe I misheard. Phased out? Yes, Chad jumped in, too eager. Like a game show host with a sick twist. It's about aligning resources with core objectives, and wait, I cut in, voice steadier than I felt. I just closed the largest deal this company's had in. What, 3 years? That's part of the evaluation, Trina mumbled, flipping to another page. There's a clause, Section 14B, that allows commission forfeiture in the event of termination prior to disbursement. Legals reviewed it. You're firing me an hour after I closed a $2.4 million deal and saying I don't get any of it? Chad gave this weak little shrug like he was sorry my puppy died, not that he just robbed me blind. It's not personal, not personal. I felt the blood drain from my face. My ears buzzed. The edges of the room curled in like a cheap Instagram filter. Trina kept talking, something about Cobra and final paychecks being mailed. I didn't hear it. I stared at Chad's smug jawline and imagined punching it with my coffee mug, over and over again, but I didn't scream, didn't cry. I swallowed the sob clawing up my throat like battery acid and smiled as I stood up. Great, I said, good luck with everything. My chair screeched as I pushed back. I walked out while they pretended to shuffle more papers. I didn't look back, not once. But oh, they would. The hallway felt longer on the way out, like the walls knew what had just happened and were closing in to watch me take my walk of corporate shame. My heels echoed on the linoleum like slow, deliberate gunshots. I didn't grab anything from my desk. Not the framed photo of my dog in a birthday hat. Not the stapler I stole from Chad 3 years ago out of spite. Not even my world's okayest closer mug. I left it all. Let them stare at my empty chair like it was a goddamn gravestone. I hit the elevator button and waited. That's when I heard it, a laugh. Followed by a voice, one of the younger account reps, a little twerp named Cole who thought selling printers made him a wolf of Wall Street. She didn't even see it coming, he snorted. Another voice chimed in, maybe Brittany from marketing, or one of the interns trying to blend in. Well, guess that's what happens when you get too comfortable. Too comfortable. That's rich coming from a guy who once asked if we billed monthly or moonthy because he saw a typo on an invoice. The elevator doors opened and I stepped inside, teeth clenched so tight I tasted blood. I waited until the doors closed until I was alone, cocooned in brushed steel and elevator jazz. Then I pulled out my phone, logged in. No hesitation. Muscle memory. Admin console building security user access permissions. It was still there. My name at the top of the tree. Master admin full access. A title they never bothered to update because it's been outsourced to freelancers who couldn't code their way out of a Google form. I scrolled, Chad, Trina, the whole executive team. Even the CEO Craig with his dumb banana yellow lanyard and his two-factor authentication that he never set up correctly. Access, revoked, revoked, revoked. One by one, I ghosted them from their own building. Security staff. Revoked parking garage codes. Disabled. The stupid coffee machine that required badge access for espresso shots. Gone. I left one person with access, facilities maintenance. Because Doug still sends me funny memes and helped me carry my monitor down 5 years ago when we moved floors. Doug's innocent. Doug stays. I hit save. The screen blinked, settings updated. Then I whispered it, low and venomous. Redundancy, huh? The elevator dinged at the ground floor. I stepped out into the warm July heat, sunglasses on, rage simmering under my skin like coiled wire. They thought I was done, that I'd slink off into the night, head bowed, maybe send a sad little email asking for reference. But I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to whimper. I was going to watch. And when Monday came, oh baby, they were going to be the ones on the outside looking in. Saturday morning, I woke up to a soft buzz on the nightstand. Thought it was my husband checking if I wanted pancakes. Instead, it was a cascade of system alerts, like a digital symphony of confusion and failure. Subject lines like, urgent, access issue admin override attempt failed security console down. Do you still have the old server password? I scrolled through my inbox with one eye open and a smirk forming. It was like watching raccoons try to hotwire a Tesla. These geniuses, who called me legacy baggage behind my back, were now knee-deep in a mess I handcrafted with care and paranoia during the startup years. The access system wasn't just a plug-and-play badge reader setup. I had built redundancies within redundancies, hard-coded protocols, multi-tiered permissions. You needed admin rights just to access the override menu. And if you failed more than 3 times, the system kicked you into a lockout mode that required biometric confirmation or an encrypted recovery key. Spoiler, I never gave them the key. I poured myself a cup of coffee and opened the admin dashboard just to see the fireworks. Attempts were coming in from every department. Chad tried 4 times using his own credentials, then his assistants, then something labeled CEO override. Bless his heart. I guess he thought caps lock could summon miracles. By noon, pings slowed but never stopped. IT must have realized what had happened. They probably scrambled a freelance contractor from their precious budget cuts, someone who read 2 Reddit threads on server recovery and said, "Have you tried rebooting it?" Meanwhile, I cracked open my laptop, opened LinkedIn, and stared at my profile for a beat. Former senior sales executive, enterprise systems, and access infrastructure. No, that wouldn't do. I edited the headline, Independent Systems Consultant Infrastructure Strategist Security Advisor for High-Risk Environments. Then I changed my availability to open to work, public, visible to recruiters. I added a little sparkle emoji for flair. Call it petty, I call it branding. I refreshed the page. Within an hour, I had 3 messages. One from a startup CEO who'd seen the chaos on tech Twitter, some thread about a company in Ohio locking itself out of its own HQ. The irony? My own ex-firm's meltdown had become marketing collateral for my new life. I didn't respond yet, let the interest simmer. Sunday brought even more alerts. They tried a total system restore. That failed too. Forgot I routed backup authentication through a VPN server that doesn't even exist anymore. Whoops. A message popped in from Brittany in marketing. Hey girl, quick cue, any chance you remember how the elevator system was set up? It's not working for anyone and we have a client tour tomorrow. Grimacing face, I stared at it for a moment, then archived it. No response. Silence is a luxury I never had in that office. Now it was mine. My husband walked in with a grocery bag and raised an eyebrow. Everything all right? Better than all right, I said, sipping my coffee. I think they're still trying to break into their own building. He grinned. Want me to make mimosas? God, yes. By Sunday evening, the admin console was still mine. My inbox had become a theater of desperation. I didn't feel angry anymore, not the raw, white-hot rage from Friday. What I felt now was amused detachment, like watching someone try to build IKEA furniture without the instructions or thumbs. I went to bed early. Let the panic build. Let the pressure cook. Monday was going to be delicious. Monday morning hit them like a brick through a stained glass window. I was already 3 bites into my avocado toast and halfway through a mimosa when the real-time alerts lit up like a Christmas tree gone feral. Failed badge swipes. Authentication denials. Security desk override blocked. Even Doug from maintenance got flagged for trying to manually reboot the main panel. Poor guy probably thought the thing just needed new batteries. The access logs told the story better than any soap opera. 7:04 a.m., reception tries to badge in. 7:06, executive entry fails. 7:09, external vendor denied elevator access. 7:12, Craig, our illustrious CEO, attempts to log in with what appears to be a password guess. Craig 123. Craig 123. That man once told an intern with a straight face that cybersecurity was just expensive paranoia. By 7:30, the parking lot was gridlocked. 20 employees milling around like confused cattle in overpriced blazers, all calling the same IT hotline that wasn't answering. Investors were arriving for a 9 a.m. strategy session. No one could get upstairs. One of the regional sales VPs had the gall to post a selfie from the lobby with the caption, "When your own office ghosts you face with tears of joy #Mondays." I almost choked on my mimosa. At 8:12, the first email came in. Chad naturally. Subject line, hey, quick question, smiling face with smiling eyes, no greeting, no apology, just hi Maggie, hope you had a good weekend. Quick cue, any chance you could help us reset the building access system? Bit of a hiccup this morning. Would mean a lot, bit of a hiccup. That's like calling the Titanic situation a puddle issue. I didn't answer. I starred the email and let it rot. By 8:45, my phone rang. Number blocked. I let it go to voicemail. Then at 9:03, my personal cell lit up with a number I recognized, Illy, the junior developer who used to sit across from me and sneak hot pockets under his desk during meetings. Kid was smart, just underpaid and overworked like the rest of us. Hey, Maggie. His voice cracked like he hadn't slept. Can you? Please just reset it, like even just the doors. We can't even get into the server room. I know they screwed you over, but come on, this isn't fair. I paused, not because I felt bad, but because it was the first time someone said out loud what everyone else was tiptoeing around. They screwed you over. Not we made a decision. Not corporate restructuring. Not we're all navigating change. Just screwed. I took a slow breath and answered evenly, I'm afraid I'm not authorized anymore. Silence. Then, oh, okay, got it. He hung up, and I smiled. Not a grin, not some villainous cackle, just a small, satisfied smile, like scratching a year-old itch. For 20 years, I'd been told to smile more, give more, stay late, sit quiet, don't ruffle feathers. I held my tongue through countless credit thefts, through being passed over for promotions so that some guy named Trevor could fail upward in khakis and boat shoes. But now, they were locked out of their own damn empire. A castle built on my back, and now they couldn't find the drawbridge. The champagne stayed cold in the fridge. I didn't celebrate, I observed. And for the first time in years, I felt taller, whole, recalibrated, like I hadn't just reclaimed power, I'd redefined it. By noon, the white flag arrived wrapped in corporate bullshit and panic perfume. The call came from an unknown number, but the voice on the other end was unmistakably Marissa, the CFO with the warmth of a DMV printer jam and all the charisma of a beige PowerPoint slide. I hadn't heard her speak directly to me in 3 months. Now she sounded like she was calling from a bunker, probably sitting on a folding chair in the parking lot, sweating through her blouse while the Wi-Fi signal bounced off tinted windows. Maggie, she began, like we were old friends catching up over brunch and not two people locked in a passive-aggressive hostage crisis. We'd like to formally request your assistance on a temporary basis to help restore systems access and resume normal operations. Is that so? I said, swirling my coffee. We're prepared to bring you on as a consultant, she continued, short-term, of course, at a reduced rate reflective of the company's current financial constraints. Retroactive commission is, unfortunately, not part of the conversation at this time, but we deeply appreciate your partnership. Partnership. I leaned back in my chair, stared out the window at nothing in particular, and let the silence do the heavy lifting. When I finally spoke, it was with the kind of calm that makes people shift in their seats. Here's what I'll need, I said. Triple my previous hourly rate. My full commission in writing and unrestricted control over all access systems. No interference. I don't answer to chat, I don't check in with IT, and I definitely don't need Marissa's approval before I breathe. Silence, a nervous exhale. Triple rate is aggressive. Tell that to the investors sweating in your lobby. She hesitated. I could hear pages flipping, maybe a spreadsheet, maybe her own pride. And she said the thing all weak leaders say when the ground crumbles. I'll have to speak to legal. That's fine, I said, already checking my inbox for more LinkedIn messages. This offer expires in 10 minutes. Then click, she hung up. Didn't say goodbye, didn't say thank you. Just a quiet little rage click, like someone trying to slam a rotary phone and realizing it's a touchscreen. I sat there in the hush that followed, letting it seep into my bones. It wasn't joy. It wasn't even revenge. It was clarity. They still thought this was a negotiation. They hadn't realized yet that the game was over and they were just fighting over scraps on a board I no longer played on. I reopened the admin panel, not to change anything, just to admire it like a painting. A masterpiece of arrogance met with quiet rebellion. They'd be back. They always come back when the people they dismiss turn out to be the ones holding the map. And when they did, the price would go up. By Tuesday, I had my own domain name, business cards on rush order, and an inbox that smelled like opportunity. Turns out, when a company locks itself out of its own headquarters and cancels 5 client demos in 2 days, people start asking questions, then looking for exits. Especially when those clients remember who actually made the machines run. Spoiler alert, it wasn't Chad. It wasn't Craig. It wasn't anyone whose title included the word evangelist. First to jump ship was Fulton Diagnostics. I'd worked with their CTO personally, building out their compliance framework from scratch. When his email hit my inbox with the subject line lunch, I knew it wasn't about soup. By dessert, he had handed over the full systems contract and asked if I could recommend someone to replace their current vendor, my former employer. I just don't trust a company that can't even unlock its own bathroom, he said, stabbing a cherry tomato with existential rage. Second came Kepler Health. Their regional director called me from his car, whispering like he was trying to escape a hostage situation. You built our backbone, Maggie. We don't care about the logo, we care about you. Send over whatever you've got. So I did, with a 20% markup and my new consulting letterhead. But the one that mattered, the crown jewel, was Argent Systems. Massive contract, international footprint. The kind of client that gets mentioned at keynote speeches and makes investor decks sparkle. I'd been nurturing that relationship for years, laying groundwork like a gardener who knew the season would change. And now it had. They hadn't left yet, but the cracks were showing. I got an email from their VP of Ops. We're evaluating our vendor relationships. Let's talk. I didn't rush it, didn't beg. I spent the afternoon drafting a proposal so airtight it could survive orbit. Custom support tiers, personalized escalation paths, integrated access training modules. Everything my old company promised and never delivered. No fluff, just solutions, me in full. While I polished that pitch, my phone buzzed with a former coworker's message. Heads up, board just called a closed door. CTO's getting grilled. I found out he gave Chad access to override protocols and bricked the failover server. It's chaos. I didn't smile. I exhaled. There's a special kind of calm that comes when you realize the storm isn't your problem anymore, but you do control the floodgates. Whispers followed. The board was investigating systemic infrastructure gaps. HR was reviewing termination procedures. Someone floated the phrase wrongful dismissal. Even Trina, the HR puppet, gone suspiciously silent on LinkedIn. No new posts about workplace wellness or trust circles. Meanwhile, I sat at my kitchen table in leggings and a hoodie, sipping iced coffee and refining my Argent pitch deck. No blazer, no buzzwords, no one interrupting me with a meeting invite titled Alignment Check-In. The tide wasn't just turning, it was rolling. And for the first time in a long, long while, I was the one steering the current. The call came just past 6 p.m., that sweet spot when corporate egos are at their weakest and the day's failures have marinated into full-blown desperation. Caller ID, Craig Whitmore, CEO, king of open floor plans and TED talk quotes he couldn't explain if you waterboarded him. I let it ring twice, then 3 more times, then picked up but didn't say a word, just silence. He cracked first. Maggie, he said, his voice strained like he'd swallowed glass. Thank you for picking up. I imagined him in his Range Rover, tie loosened, face betread, dashboard Bluetooth glitching, trying not to scream while some investor chewed his ass raw over Zoom. I want to talk, he said. I sipped my drink. I bet you do. Listen, I know things escalated. We made some decisions, ones I regret. And I think it's time we put this behind us. Come in, fix it. We'll find a way forward. Is that right? We'll make a formal offer, he added quickly. Full consulting rate. Temporary, of course, with appropriate access credentials reinstated. There it was, him choking on the word access. like it personally insulted him to admit I still held the keys to the building he used to strut through like a discount tech god. I see, I said, then paused, let the silence stretch like tension wire. You made a decision to cut costs. Yes, it was a mistake. No, I corrected. I tone low and cold, it was a choice. You fired your most experienced strategist to avoid paying her what she earned. You left your infrastructure dependent on people who couldn't reset a router without Googling it. You didn't just lock yourself out of your office, Craig. I leaned back in my chair and smiled into the phone. You locked yourself out of your company. His breath hitched. I heard voices in the background. Someone saying something about a quarterly board call. Probably another fire he couldn't put out. You want access? I said. I'll give you access, bare minimum. No bells, no whistles, expires in 24 hours. After that, you're on your own. Maggie, click. I didn't wait for his rebuttal. Didn't need his gratitude or his validation. I opened my laptop, logged into the admin console one final time. My name still glowed at the top like a neon middle finger. Temporary access roles, right arrow executive group, right arrow one-time override permissions. I toggled the switches. Read only. No admin rights, no deep system access. Just enough to let them into the damn building so they could sit in their offices and panic more comfortably. At the bottom of the screen, I set the expiration timer, 23 hours, 59 minutes. No grace period, no auto-renew. They'd get in, but they'd stay out of everything that mattered. Hit save. The screen flashed confirmation. The keys were out of my hands, but the house was already crumbling. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine and stared at the city lights through my living room window. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even gloating. I was building something new with fewer doors and better locks. And this time, no one was locking me out. It hit the newswire like a slap with a frozen fish. Key clients depart tech firm after cybersecurity blunder. Internal access failure cited as root cause. They tried to spin it, of course, called it a misconfiguration during system upgrades, blamed a third-party vendor transition, said words like cloud and legacy stack as if tech jargon could patch a sinking ship. But insiders knew. Hell, clients knew. 3 of them jumped in 48 hours. The last straw wasn't just the badge system meltdown. It was the emails that went unanswered, the meetings that never happened, and the growing realization that Maggie, the woman they fired to save a commission check, was the only one who ever made things work. And Maggie, she was standing in her new office, a real one. Windows light, a view of the river that didn't smell like broken dreams. She wore sneakers now. No heels, no dress code, no performative girl boss mugs. Just a hoodie and a brain full of blueprints no one else could replicate. Her new assistant walked in, tablet in hand. "I've got a meeting request." "From who?" The assistant flipped the screen. A name she hadn't seen in weeks. Chad Weston, strategic advisor, interim CTO. Maggie blinked, then let out the softest chuckle, just enough breath to carry a middle finger across the room. She reached for her phone, opened the calendar, and without a second thought, hit delete. No message, no response, no room for ghosts. She turned back to her whiteboard. Her new client integration map gleamed in clean, confident lines. The work was harder now, more pressure, more responsibility, but it was hers. Built from the ashes of betrayal, powered by pure uncut vengeance and Excel sheets nobody dared touch but her. The voice inside her, quieter now but stronger, spoke without bitterness, without rage. "They thought they could shut the door on me," she murmured. Pause, sip of coffee. Turns out, I was the door. And somewhere, on a forgotten server they never figured out how to replace, the system's lock screen blinked its final message. Access denied. Flicker, black screen. Silence. What hits hardest in this story isn't the revenge, it's the silence. Maggie didn't rant, didn't plead, didn't play their game. She let their own incompetence collapse the structure they tried to keep her out of. It's a reminder that sometimes the sharpest move in corporate warfare is knowing when to say nothing and watch the building lock itself down. Appreciate you sticking around, you legends of the break room. Subscribe for more chaos. Let's make your old managers spill their coffee in fear.